Peace, beloved, peace. It's your homie, Young Content, the unofficial sensei of the culture, mastering youthfulness and contentment. And oh my god, long time coming. Super excited to have the one and only. There's no other cell in the universe like this, man. Ben Mauro in the building, full of evolution, full of knowledge, full of lore. What's going on, Ben Mauro? Thanks for being here, man.
Hey man, great. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, I kind of fanboying right now because you said yes. I know you're like on an interview world tour right now with your NFTs. How's that world tour going, bro? How's that
That's
energy?
crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's always a challenge to balance promoting stuff and helping stuff grow and then working on content and making new stuff to help the project keep growing and evolving and stuff.
Nice. Did uh did you expect your NFT drop to do what it did? I'm pretty sure you did. But you kind of stay humble. You're like, it just took you by surprise.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what to expect, right? Like working in games and film our whole life, we're kind of taught everything we do is kind of like worthless. Like, give me 10 of these by lunchtime or something, And so like we're conditioned to like think everything we do is not doesn't have much value, but like
Where do you think that comes from,
I
though?
know it has value. Like to me, like all of us as artists, we know our work has value, but like we're just like in a system that tells us it isn't. And so it was a nice moment to like validating moment of this like 15 years of being told the opposite, that like no, your work does have value and people do like it. And yeah, I think myself and a lot of others, just a lot of those light bulbs start going off where it's like, oh, like not that
Well,
everything's alive, but like just like, okay, our work does have value, we have value, and the companies we've been working for that, you know, try to give us as little as possible have really been making quite a bit off of our efforts, making toys, making movies, making all this stuff. So
yeah.
it's a very interesting moment for sure.
I was gonna ask you a question. I always ask every interview. The first question is, Ben, what do you love to do? Not what do you do. What do you love to do? Truly.
I guess I just love like building universes and solving problems. And I guess
Hmm.
telling stories too. Like the last 5 years or so was working on my graphic novel Huxley, and like it's it's like one of the most difficult problems you could ever solve. It's like you start with a design, like, okay, I have this robot. Okay, who is he? What does he do? What world does he live in? Who are these other characters? What could be this big adventure they go on? And like every day is like the hardest day of your life because you never, it's like, what happens next in the story? Oh, okay, they get to this new location. And, oh, wait, they have to have this new character they meet. And so like every page is almost like you've never done it in your entire life. It's like, okay, this is like the hardest day of my life every day for like 4 or 5 years.
For real.
Um, but like some people or some friends were like, man, you're crazy. That's too much work. It's too hard. But like the purpose that comes from having that, like it focuses my day and my life in such a way that like it just gives such strong purpose to like every single second of energy that I have. It's like, okay, today I have to work on this. Today I have to solve this problem. I have to research this. And it just gives your life purpose
Yeah.
in a way that just adds so much meaning to everything I do. And it's like I have no, I don't, it's just so
Yeah.
much clarity, I guess.
It,
Like there's been points in my life where it's like I feel lost or like I don't know what I should do, but like having things like that in the back of your mind to like keep your mind sharp, I think is
so
what keeps me
lore,
going.
storytelling, world building. I'm so happy you didn't
Yeah.
say making money because
No,
you know.
because I've been doing this my whole life and not really making any money. So like it's just like this is what I love,
But that's
and
crazy to me that
um,
someone that's in the Hobbit trilogy, Elysium, Chappie, all these things, like, is it because of these industries are very linear thinking? Is it they don't have that multi-dimensional aspect, or they don't really
I
see
think
value in? Um,
well, I think they do see value, but they try to keep it us all locked or pushed down as much as possible. Like don't let them know
the
how
pyramid.
valuable they are, kind of
Yeah,
thing. It's very much like a pyramid.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like maybe at the beginning it wasn't that way, but like it's just turned that way over, 100 years, however long the film industry's been in existence, or all these industries. It's like, um, yeah, it's like it's all work for hire. It's like, okay, we're gonna pay these people this, give us all these drawings or whatever, and then okay, now we got Iron Man, now we got Boba Fett, now we got this, and we paid the artist $10 and we got it. It's kind of like that. And just thinking about the amount of revenue generated from, say, even like Iron Man or Boba Fett, like that's huge. That's a huge, from like one design, right?
Yeah.
From toys, from video games, from all that stuff. And yeah, it's just interesting to see that. And we don't really, I guess, because we've been in that system, we don't really think about it too much. Just like, oh, that's the way it is, whatever.
That's
But
yeah. That's why with this new system, I didn't I never heard about you because I was in crypto buying shit coins for the past 5 years. Got into NFTs with Decentraland and Gods Unchained, and then all of a sudden I'm buying Top Shot, and that Top Shot hype. They announced the Vive, the how you say V3, Vive 3, Vive. I don't know how you say
I
that.
say Vibe. I'm not sure if it's something else.
Viv3.com. And then you came along, and I'm like, wow, this is the power of NFTs. A creative director could get the shine he deserves for his works
Yeah,
instead of the cast members or the actors. And then the people start building with you. It is literally a digital lore itself that now makes me love your art. And I was able to get those two rare packs. I don't know how I did it. I didn't use a bot, but I did it. And
great.
oh my gosh. So yeah, I want you to talk about, like, is that the power of NFTs to bring highlight to the underdog?
Yeah, I just feel like it's a way that all of us who have been in that same situation can finally just like I've wanted to make something like this while I was making that art over 10 years, right? Like I was making all these cool creatures while I was on The Hobbit and all these movies, because it's like maybe someday the system won't be like this, or I can turn this into something. And it just never happened. And because I would have to have a huge team, I have to have like a whole studio if I want to make a game or something. Um and then it would basically be what I'm doing now, where it's like, a giant company, the revenue comes in and it gets chopped up, and I would be at the bottom again. um and this just allows you to say like, yeah, just work with one website like Vive, and they take their cut and you get the rest. And it's just like, sweet, amazing.
For sure.
Like technology and art coming together in a beautiful way, where it's just like the artist can finally get the paid for their work,
Yeah. Do you feel like
for all that hard work.
do you feel like the universe is on your side, because anybody could have been on the Vive network, but you were the guy. So it's like
Yeah.
to a lot of people, you're like the sci-fi people, and it's pretty. Is that the universe working for you in your favor, or you made that stuff happen?
I think a lot of it was the right time, the right place, the right people contacting me at the right moment. And it's funny because, I worked on all those movies, and, uh, some of them you hope will be like, say, the next Star Wars or something. And one of the movies I worked on, uh, the owner of Vive really loved it. But like when the movie came out, I was just like, maybe I didn't really connect with people and didn't turn out. So maybe on some level, I was a little disappointed with the the creators of Vive loved that movie so much, and that was the reason they contacted me. So like nothing's wasted, right? Like maybe you think something you did was a failure or a waste of time, but like someone else loved it and connected with it and kind of came back all these years later, like, I want to do something with this person because of that thing that they made. So yeah, nothing's wasted, and you don't really know how the things you put out into the world are going to come back to you. um, it's kind of a trip. So a lot of it was this, where it was like I was always trying to do really cool stuff, and um,
Consistency. Yeah.
never gave up.
Yeah.
And then someone who liked something I did contacted me, and it was like right when I was starting to do all this stuff, and I was just like, let's do it. Like let's go for it. Let's try it.
I'm very
And
proud of you, bro. I'm super
thanks,
proud of
man.
your journey. The chat. I gotta get to the chat. Someone said, "Really excited
Sure.
for this interview. Happy to be learning from Brent, Ben, Jennifer, TS." Top Shot Mate says, "Yo, love your work, Ben. Newfound fan and absolutely adore my collection. Young, thanks for the great content." Goldie says, "What's up, Daddy?"
Victory!
Jennifer says, "What's poppin'? Deck Nuts. Hello. Welcome to this wonderful interview with Ben in the dojo, sensei style." I was gonna ask Ben, what was your first job, and did you shed tears at that in that job, thinking, "Hey, I need to be in art full time"? Like, because I know working at Chick-fil-A, washing dishes, and thinking of stories while chicken grease is all over my hands. That is life, you know. That is the journey
Yeah.
we're on. So, what was your first
Like
job
first job ever.
that made you question, "Hey, I got to get the fuck out of
Oh
here"?
yeah. Oh yeah. It was in Michigan in high school. Like, I don't know, like most people, like I love video games, and you know, you go ask your dad, like, "Hey, Dad, I really want the new video game," and you know, my dad's a hard ass, so he was just like, "Get up, you know, like, get up." I don't know if I can
Get
swear.
a effing, you could curse.
Get an effing job, you know, get a job, and I was just like, "Oh, okay," and then, you know, because to that point you're young and your parents kind of help you out, and then it gets to a point where it's like, "All right, kid, like,
Go work at the steel
time
mill,
to
son.
get it. You're gonna have to see what it's really like." And I think it was like, yeah, washing dishes at, what was the name of the restaurant? What, not like Applebee's, but something like that,
Chain.
like a chain kind of restaurant like that, washing dishes. And yeah, you're just like washing dishes all day. You come home smelling like garbage. You're taking out the most disgusting smelling garbage. Just get it all over yourself, and you're just like,
Were you
yeah,
finding
hey,
time to draw at you know, were you drawing at that time or using a
I
computer?
I probably, maybe just as like a hobby, but yeah, I was like high school, like 16, 17. And after like a couple months of that, you're just like, man, I really, physical labor, like I need to do something with my mind. I need to figure out something to do with my mind, because I just don't want to do this, you know. And then from there it turned into like maybe like a Domino's making pizzas, which was slightly better, and then working at like a smoothie shop, ice cream
Dude, you're
shop, that's
giving us some
slightly
serious
better.
alpha. This is some rags
and
to riches
then,
story here, dude.
and then it was
You know?
like maybe working at a gym, because then I was like, okay, I want to be, that was when I was starting to be like, okay, I want to do something with mine. I was focusing on video games and art. And then it was like, okay, like planning ahead, almost like, I'm probably going to be sitting at a computer my whole life, so I better understand how to get physically fit and healthy. So I worked at a gym, so I get like free membership, so I could like figure out how to.
I don't
like,
want to be a potato.
because it was like, yeah, starting to like life plan a little further. Like, okay, I'll probably be sitting at my desk for like all day. I got to figure out how to like be pretty healthy, I guess. And
Were you excellent in school, or like were you like a really top learner, honor student, AP?
no,
Were you like, what kind of kid were you? Were you alone most of the time in the lunchroom, or like did you have a bunch of rebel goonies that you rolled with?
I think I was always in the middle. Like, I don't really believe in like astrology too much, but like I'm a Libra, but like it's always like the balance, right? Like
For
in the
sure.
middle, you're balanced. And like I don't really believe in that stuff, but I kind of find that I am like that. So like I wasn't always with the cool kids or with whatever. Like I was always in the middle, and I kind of floated around to all the social groups a
Yeah.
little bit like this. And
Yeah.
I think in high school I was like, I just didn't know. I was kind of lost. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do. Right? It was just like there's all this stuff going on, and people were doing stuff, and I was like, what do I want to do? Like there's people who like doing sports, people who like doing this, and I was kind of like, I don't really know. Like your parents try to push you into things, and you're like, I guess. Like there's nothing that really interests me outside of like video games and stuff like this. So like my schoolwork was always okay. Again, I was always in the middle. Like it was kind of okay, but then when it was like I knew what I wanted to do, it was like, okay, if I want to do this, I need to have good grades to go to this school or do this. So like that focused
You're nice.
my mind.
Nice.
So I was like, okay, I have to get B's and A's or whatever GPA. Okay, I'm going to do it if that's will allow me to do what I want to do.
I noticed that your Discord name is Nostromo, and that is the what, the alien ship.
Yeah.
Is this sci-fi thing of yours is always been like a key that you had to unlock, or was it gaming that unlocked that for you, or was it movies, or who's someone that took you to your first sci-fi movie, or or you know,
I
you
don't
just
know if
how
it
was that
was.
journey of
I don't.
sci-fi love?
I think I was just always thinking about the future, right? Like I was always. I don't know if I was like anxious or anxiety, but I was always worried about stuff. So I'm always thinking about the future, and then like yeah, like all the movies growing up, like we had some crazy ones like The Matrix and all this stuff. Like yeah, and going back through Alien and Terminator and all these films, like just really like gets me thinking about the future. And I guess I just really just got into sci-fi books, and I think just the idea of like what will happen in the future, all the different possibilities, and how we might get there, and all the things that might happen. And
Yeah.
I think video games are really tied into that because it's like this new thing, you know, the computer, and then there's the internet. Like we kind of lived through all that growing up, right? Like there was no internet, and then we kind of saw the beginnings of it and early video games, and we kind of like see all these little steps as this thing starts growing. And um, yeah, it's kind of all intertwined to me a little bit in that way.
Do you remember that sci-fi movie when I was a kid? I remember the sci-fi movie that was like blonde hair guy sci-fi. It was called something in Titans. Asian um, protagonist. It was like this sci-fi something with Titan. I forget that was the movie. If I
Hmm.
figure it out, I'll figure it out. But that really got me into the sci-fi game. And do you think we have a realistic approach with sci-fi, or because you know you have VR, you have AR, everyone thinks we're going to the moon with that like in 6 months. Um,
Yeah.
what is the realistic timeline for us to be? Um,
Well, that's always yeah. There's always like so much hype around new stuff, like say when the Rift and like all these AR things came out. People were like, "This is gonna be the craziest! Like, it's gonna replace the iPhone in 6 months," and you're like, "Yeah," but like, I think when people see like technology advances fast, but it takes time. Like I think there was one like like there's HoloLens and like Magic Leap had their own headset, and like I remember both were like hyping like this is gonna replace iPhone and all this stuff, and like and we still have them, but it's like you know the things a lot of these companies promise like are probably like 10 years away still. Like you know it just takes time. Like HoloLens is still pretty big, and there's like a FOV, and
yeah,
like everyone's kind of selling it as like you know you just put on some glasses and we can like our whole world is
yeah,
like holograms everywhere. I think that's quite a ways away. And
yeah,
even still, if it is glasses, like if you look down, there's no there's no holograms. Like someone has to get like full FOV for us to feel like we're seeing all this stuff. Otherwise, it's
yeah,
just like a little square
yeah,
in front of our eyes with like a hologram. But if you look, it's kind of gone.
yeah.
Um,
What I'm really getting into right now is like with space MMOs and NFTs, and how like EVE Online and all these things that have been around for 18 years, NFTs are going to make that a real thing, you know, like the industrialists, the scientists, the pilot, the commanders, the miners, the people who are educators in these games. And as Goldie knows, I just want to get like a jet rig and just be flying in space, you know, mining asteroids and stuff. That's like,
yeah, stuff like that will be super cool. I think the moment this will take off the big like VR and AR, right, are kind of like a middle step
yeah,
for like going inside this
I
experience.
need a
But I feel
rig.
like the full experience I still feel will be whenever Neuralink gets easy, where you just I don't know, take a pill or like
Yeah,
you just put on a hat,
yeah,
and it's not like right now you got to get surgery and
for
all this
sure.
crazy stuff.
You can hear the
Um,
PlayStation sound effect when the Neuralink goes on.
yeah, but like the moment we are like mentally in there is when it will be the moment. I feel like
Yeah,
because right now it's like we have to put on this headset and we're like looking around, but we know
yeah,
we're still in our room.
for sure.
um I don't know when that will be. That it will be, but it will come for sure, where it's just like Matrix stuff, right? You're in your chair, you're laying down, and you just put on the thing, and
Yeah,
I'm in cyberspace now.
if Elon would
uh
stop focusing on Doge and just go back to Neuralink and stuff, man. Gosh, he did great on SNL. Did you see that?
yeah, that was funny. I like that.
I love his Wario skit. I need to get to these questions. Someone says thanks for being here, Ben. While she says that, I'm gonna get to all your questions for Ben for sure. Someone wants to know what kind of lore are we looking at with the Krulian hunters? Am I saying that?
Cerulean, yeah.
Cerulean hunters. They are my favorite. We'll get to that. What kind of gaming computer chair does Ben rock?
I don't think it is even a gaming chair. It's just like an old an
No, that's a
old
commander's chair, man. That's an Atlas
chair
commander's
up.
chair. I've seen that before on Atlas.com. You're tripping.
It wasn't it was like $100 off Amazon. So it wasn't. It's falling apart. I need a good chair. I don't know because I like sitting cross-legged when I work. So like I need something with like pads that doesn't hurt my legs.
Um, uh, Avian is in the building sending rocket ships. Shout out to your mod Avian. It's a funny story about Avian. Hopefully I'm saying that right. He got banned from Top Shot, and he hit me up. He was like, "Dude, can you please tell someone to unban me?" I was like, "Dude, all right, got you." And then next thing you know, he's the moderator of the Discord of Ben Mauro's Evolution. So that's huge. So yeah, someone wants to know, um, what kind of lore are we looking at with those hunters, cerulean hunters?
Um, yeah, the idea is like it's almost like a like I guess similar to like an avatar kind of thing, like these tribal race of people on like a jungle planet, but they're very much more like aquatic, maybe cities underwater, like hybrid cities underwater and on land.
I'm actually gonna
Um,
pull that up right now for the people to see it. Yeah, sorry.
but yeah, they're just like a almost like the Native American kind of alien, like live off the land, one with the land, like everything's connected and quite spiritual, and yeah, there's different predators and animals on their planet, and this is like their own kind of almost jungle planet that I'd love to trying to figure out a way that I can build and people can explore, but it might take a little time. Um,
Did you
yeah,
did you get inspired with Avatar? I mean, just
sure. Yeah, like the same kind of thing. Like, yeah, just trying to create a universe where like if you love something, there's a little something for everyone. Like there's things that are maybe if people love deep alien, there's these kind of things. If you love like Star Warsy kind of desert worlds or stuff like that for you, and it just keeps it fun for me too, where it's like I can mix and match all these things. Maybe one thing kind of feels a little bit like something, but then it goes off in a totally different direction. And
yeah. I'm pretty sure if you ever saw one of your characters like die in a movie that you created, it would bring you very like tears to your eyes. You know, I just can see you like Shia LaBeouf looking at that meme where he's just looking at his own movies. Um, and is that where you want to go? Because you seem more than an artist to me. Um,
sure.
like you said earlier, you're a world builder, and I would love to see some of this stuff come to life. Like, and
Yeah,
that doesn't mean like physical. That just means emotionally. You know what I mean? Like I connect with that character so emotionally. You know?
sure. Yeah, I mean that's what I do. That's what I've been doing my whole career. So like, um, if most people are trying to be like the Andy Warhol of NFTs, I hopefully I can try to be close. You know, at some point, like a more like a George Lucas of NFT or something, where I'm building like a
Abracadabra, bro.
giant
It's gonna
universe.
happen.
And yeah, so that's where my mindset is at, is just being like a universe creator and a world builder, because that's basically what I've been doing my whole career for other people, and have kind of been doing that for my own stuff the last 5-6 years, on my graphic novel Huxley. So like that's where my head's been at. Like most of my career is trying to like shift gears to
Yeah.
creating universes for myself that people can fall in love with and enjoy. And
How do you get the checkmate to get there? You know, like a, how do you play chess with this now? You know, because there's so many moving pieces.
I think a lot of it's just like with the graphic novel stuff, just getting it out the door. And then with evolution, it was a little unexpected. Like we said earlier, it's like I wanted to do this, but I didn't think it would happen like this or so quickly. But the NFT moment kind of happened, and I just went for it. And so now I'm long term, it would be basically these two things: like figure out a way to get Huxley out the door, support and grow evolution, and just like focus on these two franchises, grow them. And yeah, right now, so evolution is like a card series where I'm starting to grow these different characters and stories and races. And next would be, yeah, like trying to make some sort of game that these all plug into, so people have like a use case for all these cards and things, and I'm thinking of some really interesting ways to do that. And
So I got some interesting ways for you to do it too, bud. I really do.
So yeah, things like that where it's like, I know things take time, but like a way that the people who have been holding their cards are rewarded in very cool ways that I think they'll be pretty happy with. But it just things take a
Dude,
little time.
I would be fine. I'm literally content. That's the show, Young Content. I'm content just putting Heartbeat on my wall, bro. Like, I have the number 12 mint Heartbeat, bro. And it's like, you know, and I just would love to see. You don't even have to give me anything else, but I'm pretty sure the community is always like, I want more, I want more.
Yeah, it's definitely balance juggling everything, and but yeah, I'm definitely thinking long term for pretty much everything I do. Yeah, like yeah, don't just toss something out there and like move on to the next thing. Like I got two things I want to do, and they're going to be the things I'm doing for quite a while.
Is there any way for you to go to NFT NYC in October?
Possibly. What I don't know what that is.
It's
what
a
exactly
big
is
NFT conference, like one of the biggest, called NFT NYC. I'll send you a link.
Awesome.
They honestly could use you as a speaker because they're like looking for speakers, but it's huge. You got Crypto Stash, you got some of the big gaming companies, Parallel. I think Flow is going to be there as well.
Cool.
I would love to. People would love to network with you.
That'd be awesome. I mean, October is around the time of my birthday, and
yeah, October 21st to the 23rd, the exact dates.
That sounds fun. Yeah, I'll definitely look into it.
I was gonna ask you. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and there's some people here that know you from Heroes Con. Have you ever been to Heroes Con?
I don't know. What exactly is that?
It's a comic book conference in Charlotte. They said that I went to the comic book store. Like, oh, Ben? We were talking about your Evolution NFTs in the comic book store, which is funny. And they're like, yeah, Ben came to Heroes Con as a special guest and signed.
I don't know.
Works and.
I don't know if I did. I don't think I've ever been to North Carolina.
They're lying to me. What the fuck, guys? Jeez.
Maybe they thought I was someone else.
I might have saw like another parallel universe, but. I was gonna say, so what is your stance on interoperability with your NFTs? Because from my perspective, there's not a lot of stories being told in the NFT world. There's a lot of digital collectibles. There's a lot of like 8-bit art, Me-Bits, Larva Labs. But you're like pioneering the stories. So it's going to come to a point where collaboration and interoperability is key for your stuff to live on, in a sense. It could do it without it, but it would be benefit to cross-chain into other places.
Sure. Yeah. I'm thinking about that as well. And also if I wanted this to grow bigger, like for whatever might come next, definitely talking to a few friends who are like super talented that could help expand this in a bigger way. So just trying to figure out different ways to do all this, and I can't say anything, but like talking to some things that
Sweet.
could
Keep
expand,
it discreet, close to the chest.
Could grow it in a very big way. That it's not done yet, but I'm still, there's just a couple things that might be happening. So
sweet. What kind of NBA Top Shot card do I give you, like a legendary, so I could get a signed Huxley comic book? Like what do I gotta do to get a signed Huxley, dude?
Well, I'm figuring out the best way to get Huxley out the door, because it's been done since maybe like end of last year, and then all this NFT stuff happened, and I got caught up in it. But now that things are kind of cooling down a bit, it's like, okay, and I have more time to think about. Like originally, I was just gonna like talk to all the comic publishers and see who wants to publish it, and get a pitch stock for like going to Netflix and trying to turn it into a movie and all this stuff. But now with NFT, it kind of, maybe there's a better way to do it than that. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to get it out there in 2021 with all the new stuff that's happening. So I'm still figuring that out. I'm talking to a few companies to partner with to get an NFT launch of all that stuff. So once it's out, I'll do some, whenever it comes out in physical form, definitely want to sign and do whatever cool stuff for everyone.
have you been keeping up with Apple TV's new series um called Foundation that's coming out?
Is it out yet? Is it
No,
out yet?
I don't think it's
Oh
out yet.
yeah, like I love the books. I haven't seen. I can't wait to see how they tackle all that.
Who how deep is as Asimov to you? As like, is that your OG? Would you say you're
He's one of them. Yeah, like when I was younger, reading Rendezvous with Rama was really prolific for like 2001, and all these other things are really big. But like, um, or was that Arthur C. Clarke? Sorry, but Rendezvous with Rama was like uh, Stranger in a Strange Land, and sorry, maybe I'm getting these two mixed up. Uh, Arthur C. Clarke and Isaac Asimov. I would read a bunch of their books when I was younger, but I might be mixing up
they're all your
some of the
OGs.
titles.
They're really all inspirations to you, and
yeah, but there's so many great stories and just the very realistic, scientific thinking of what would happen and where things would go were really big in both of those authors' works. That again just kind of got me thinking about things in a realistic, bigger way. That was pretty big. Yeah.
that's righteous. I'm saying if you ever shoot Huxley, and if I could be like a someone in the background or a background actor or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
with a mustache or something, I got a good acting ability. But
Yeah.
hey, that might be avian because who knows? It's just cool the possibilities you could bring your community into
Yeah.
your world.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm pretty sure you get inspired by them every day, just their passion, just don't take that for granted, man. Don't take
Yeah.
that stuff when they say, hey, your shit changed my life. That's like your purpose on earth. You're doing what you're fucking meant here to do.
Yeah. Yeah. The Discord stuff's been cool just because like yeah, the direct connection. I think not enough people maybe do that. And again, that kind of like drop something and be like, see ya later. And it's just like just engaging with the people who like your work and being there and um yeah, and taking feedback too. It's like we want this or we want that. And sometimes people want too many things, but it's like, okay,
Give
what
me the world in the
like
handbasket.
but like filtering it down, it's like, okay, that's valid. Like
Yeah.
let me figure that out. Or um seeing what people respond to over other things is very insightful too, where it's like maybe I want to do this, but then it's like people really like these couple things. It's like, okay, maybe I'll focus on those first because they really like it. um yeah, it's just been really really cool to see that part of it.
Yeah, speaking of Discord, Avian said, y'all know the Discord server will be kept up to safe. Says bread emoji. And then Decknut said, I need a link to that Discord. Username, Decknuts. Because honestly, dude, I feel like you are a George Lucas with your innovation. And for me to get you on my channel in like 20 years, dude, it's like, what the fuck? I'm like, wow, like I actually talked to that guy. And
Well, I hope so. Again, like you never know. Like this is like where my head's at and what I'd love to do. And I feel like going like again, we talked about like working in film all those years. Like I don't feel that time was like you could look at it like, oh, I wasted all my time. And it's like I don't see anything as wasted. It's like that was like training, right? That's like sharpening the blade for the thing I want to do or whatever, however you want to put it. But like, yeah, nothing's wasted. Like all that years were incredibly valuable training so that I could do all this for myself.
Was there
Even though
anybody
maybe I didn't make a ton of money or anything while I was doing it, but it was like the training for me was worth it.
You were in the dojo, man, straight doing
Yeah.
free pose. And do you find time to like meditate? Because I feel like this is a two-part question. Because when I'm meditating, I'm into astrology, I'm into the signs. I honestly feel more alien than human. All right, fuck. Everyone knows that the sensei is kind of half part alien. But what is your rituals like? What do you do as far as meditation? Do you find time to breathe? Do you find time to like really zen out before you create? And do you think that's a part of something bigger? Like Alien.
I don't know. My routine has been, I guess, all the years on the graphic novel kind of structure my mind, and also working for studios is good for structuring my mind. It's just like I gotta get up, I gotta go, I gotta get up, eat something, get to work, check the emails,
Yeah.
get on top of things, and then there's like a pause and you get some work done, and then again it's just like a flow of the day. And then it's like dinner time, relax a bit, go exercising. I think exercising, like just running for like an hour or half an hour, like clears my head and gets me thinking. um, and then after that it's like I can sit down and like do my stuff, and it's kind of like a break. It's almost like I have two jobs or three jobs, where it's like work for the client that has the cycle, the break, exercise is like the reset, and then my stuff, and it's like the second part of the day. It's like two minds almost. It's kind of yin yang.
Are you like Vince McMahon, who only finds 3 hours to sleep because he's so passionate about WWE? Do you only have 3 hours of sleep a day? Because I know in this realm you're excited, you know.
Yeah, since the beginning of the year, it's been pretty rough. Like losing some sleep, just because all this has been pretty intense. But I feel like I'm catching up a bit of that now. But I do need my sleep as I'm getting older. I'm not, we're not 20 anymore or whatever.
For real.
Like just sleep 1 hour and just keep drawing, and it's all good.
You're not going into that cryo chamber? I saw a cryo chamber. Like you opened the door and there was like a cryo chamber in there, dude. I don't know how. You might be more futuristic than we think.
But again, like with the ebb and flow of like a day, I feel like there's been an ebb and flow of my life where like when I was younger, I had put in all this effort, and then there was like a recharge, like resting period, and then another big push of like it's like pushing a boulder up a mountain, and then you got to rest for a second, and then you're just like, okay, I'm ready to push it up the mountain again. And there was a time. There's definitely been times in my life where it was like that huge push to like get to a higher level, and then it was like, okay, that took a lot out of me. I need to recover for a couple of years and just take it easy. And then it's like, okay, I feel like I'm recharged. My batteries are recharged. I can do it again.
Yeah.
And like there was maybe like 3 years of traveling the world out of a suit. Like I sold all my belongings. I was like traveling after like a big working in New Zealand at Weta. I was like, okay, I need my break. And I was doing like Call of Duty, but my life was more about traveling and soaking up experiences.
Yeah.
And then after that, it felt like, okay, I need to like a studio again. I need to focus. I need to like
for sure
I'm ready to like push the boulder.
I got a deep question for you. Sorry about the deep questions. What?
No, it's all good.
What do you think happens after you die? Does your art live on, or do you get a statue, or is it more metaphysical?
I don't know. I think about that. I definitely think about that a lot. Like
energy can't be.
There's no way. There's no way to know. So like for me, I try to live every day as if I don't like. If there is nothing, I want to make sure I live every day as if it isn't. So like the idea of like, okay, I'm going to be reincarnated and come back as something else. I feel like that might give me an excuse to not try as hard now. So I try to think like there's a lot of things that could be possible, but I'm going to live as though there isn't, so that I'm always being 100% in the moment and now.
You gave the nice PC answer, but I know that the way you draw your designs, bro, that's coming from another place, bro. Like, where are those images coming from?
I see.
The
like,
ether?
I think a lot of it, like, okay, so when you start creating something, like, I sometimes plan things out, right? Like
that tribulate.
It's almost like my collective
came from, man.
Yeah, like it's almost like my collective, not collective unconscious or collective consciousness, or like my visual library of everything I've experienced, like that weird id in your brain of just like all knowledge.
That Raspberry
and
Pi
you kind of like there's like a ball of digital clay in front of you, and you just start sculpting, and where might this go, and maybe this, and like
kind of magic.
certain forms and shapes start coming out of it, and you're like, oh, that's cool, and then like your mind
Victory
starts turning it into something, right? And like I don't know what you want to call that, like something else takes over, I don't know, like
it's called alpha channeling.
it just like there is something that happens for sure when it's just like like, oh, what about this? I wonder what that is. And like maybe I have some idea, like I want it to be kind of insect based or fish based, or maybe I'll have some reference of certain animals, but like it clearly doesn't look like the animal, but it's like kind of like the vibe of some weird ant or something that I
For
was
sure.
looking at, or
For sure.
and then your mind just like turns it into something that you feel is like real, or like I don't know if like I don't stop until I feel like it's like I believe that it could exist, but it clearly doesn't. There's like that weird target in my mind of just like it's based on reality, but it's clearly not. But I feel like it's a real thing that has character and purpose. I feel like that's a thing too, where it's like there's a
You're,
lot of
yeah.
great detailed art,
Yeah.
but I don't connect with any of it, right? Like it's like that's very detailed,
Yeah.
but I don't. It's not cool, or it's not. I don't feel like it's a character. Like I don't feel like it's a.
Yeah. But at the
I
same
don't
time,
respond. There's no emotion, that no emotional response to it, I guess.
Top Shot Mate said you got gotta jump out, but just want to say thank you for both of your hard work. Hope to catch you soon again. Thanks, Top Shot Mate. Also, Parallel just came in the building. I need you to know about Parallel. All right, I'm gonna tell you about Parallel. They are a high end art NFT TCG that pays homage to sci-fi. Some of the highest end art I've ever seen. You guys' work will complement each other. But they drop. I'm gonna post this right here. You're not gonna be able to see it, Ben. But they literally post a Markrolian Mars rifle for their trading card game, and they put me in it under objective, young. But then they put over in the location Nostromo, and I was like, oh, you put Ben Mauro stuff in here? And they were like, no. Man, what did I just do? I was like, they were like, Nostromo is the alien ship. I'm like, dude, that's Ben Mauro's tag. And they're like, really? So you might be engrafted in a NFT that you didn't know about because your name is
Cool.
Nostromo on Discord.
That's awesome.
But I would love. I'm definitely gonna send you some stuff. Want you to
Sure.
see it because I think when we talk about cross chain and taking some evolution characters, putting it inside Parallel, their lore is very beautiful. It's very well thought out, just like your lore. So you guys are literally like top giants in my eyes. Um,
Cool.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Alien, human, or cyborg? Which one would you rather be, and why? If you had a choice.
Maybe cyborg, just because
Cyborg?
you'd be like, because then you could be connected to like the like metaverse and be anything you want to be.
For real. I would say cyborg. I don't know, man. I like the feeling of love. I like the, but even though I like the feeling of work too, I just choose, what's I guess beneficial to my community and say fuck my fucking dopamine levels. I don't know.
It is an interesting thing too about like being the human experience, right? Like all these things are explored in sci-fi books all the time. Is like what is like if you are like an android or a robot, they have access to all information in the world, but they can't understand these things because of all these limitations. Like we're in this basically like meat bag that has needs, right? You have to eat every day, you have to go to the restroom, you need like you can't if you work too much, your mind just can't handle it, and you have to like you need this balance or else you kind of go crazy. And um, being so far in one direction like has its benefits, like processing data at a crazy rate or whatever else, but like this human experience we have, it's pretty fascinating thing, and that's kind of kept sci-fi authors very busy exploring these ideas for many years. But it's definitely an interesting experience, just like
Yeah.
the
Is that
life we have and the experience we have. And
is that the characters that you gravitate towards more in your in lore? Just the human misfit that doesn't really get fit in and rises the same way, like the common narrative. Is
I guess so. It's a pretty strong thing to connect to, but I'm seeing a lot of different narratives pop up the last few years that it's cool because it's there's so many things to explore. I mean, the hero's journey, like the hero with a thousand faces kind of thing, is classic and it always works. But um, yeah, it's always good to see like how that can evolve and change and all the variants of it. And
Yeah.
I feel like Marvel's been doing a pretty good job of keeping it interesting, even though there's definitely a bit of a formula. But like every time, I feel like they tweak it in a way where you're like, ah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like
I like
it
mystery
keeps
a
it
lot
fresh.
more than anything. I think the mystery of a character that you think is good and is actually just battling between like going to the evil side more because it's fun. Um, those type of cross the many paths in the garden, so to speak. That
Sure. And also like say looking at Black Panther, right? Like there was like Michael B. Jordan's character was quote unquote the bad guy, but you
phenomenal
could see where he was coming from,
coming
right?
from, man.
Like you're just like, well, he has a point, like where he's coming from. Maybe he takes it a little too far and that makes him the bad guy, but
Yeah,
like you're just like, well,
yeah.
I kind of
It
can
was the Malcolm X,
understand.
Martin Luther King thing. Yeah,
It's fascinating, and I like how Marvel's been exploring a lot of these kind of like someone isn't 100% bad just because they're bad or whatever, or even like Thanos. Like obviously what he was doing was
yeah,
really bad, but like
yeah.
you can kind of understand for the like what he was trying to do. Yeah, I don't know. It's they really get to a lot of really interesting narratives in those stories that I never kind of had seen before. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
like Thanos was kind of like COVID, like the virus, you know, and it's like but these are just natural elements inside society. Viruses have been here for ages and ages, and you see like the movie like The Happening and M Night Shyamalan. That's one of my favorite directors of all time. Um, and M Night Shyamalan is, I think someone who could probably help us or you inside your thing. A great director. Is any director you would like to work with that you worked with in your career?
Um, like say for Huxley, like I'd love to see like it is kind of like a sci-fi Mad Max or something. So I'd love to see like George Miller do a sci-fi. Like I don't think he's done that yet. It's like either Mad Max or Happy Feet or he's kind of like or like Babe, and he's kind of either one or the other. I'd love to see him do like something sci-fi. It'd be pretty sweet.
So when do you project like that will happen? I would love to get that on the record, on actual like
I have no idea.
yeah
Like look at Marvel, right? Like those comics have been around for like well like 70 years, 50 years, and it took them that long to start making movies out of it. So if I can get it before 50 years, by the time I'm like really old, that'd be pretty good.
for sure.
um, but I mean ideally like yeah, you
Time is
never
moving
know. Like
fast, man. So I think time is
yeah,
speeding up. Everything in the space is speeding up, and it's just
sure.
everything. It's just a speed up.
But I just think movies are a very complicated business. So I just feel like even if I sold the rights or something, it could take a very, very long time to figure out because it's like who are the right people, the right studio. There's like 1,000 different factors to like get something made. Like some movies I worked on, the director bought the rights to the book, and then we started working on it, and then 10 years later the movie finally came out, right? So like even if it's like all the right, like the best director, the best writer, the best this, it could still take like 10, 12 years before something actually comes out. it's
For sure.
it's crazy. Movies are a crazy business.
Yeah, currently right now I'm working on a project called The Elitist, and it's a very anti-elite, anti-government superhero and anti-hero, and it's just how do you find time to how do you even like stop procrastination when you're writing? Because I'm like writing, I'm like no, I'm like praying when I write. I'm fucking trying to fucking find an emotion. Um, I'm trying to put my head in the sand. I'm just trying to get some inspiration while I write, but I get so distracted. Have you came away from that type of young way of writing? I feel like I'm very young in my writing.
I think for me it helped, like the roadblocks I had were when I took breaks and only worked on my thing. Like I feel like I need like the day job that I don't like. Like not that I don't like my jobs that I do, but like
Yeah.
you need that thing that takes you away from the thing you want to do, right? And so even though you're working on someone else's thing, you're still the gears are turning. So by the time you do have your time to work on it, you're like, I know exactly how to solve this.
Yeah, it's the beautiful
Like because
mess.
you've been thinking about it all day,
Yeah.
but you couldn't work on it. But now that you can, you're like, I'm ready, I got it. But if I am only working on my book, maybe the first week or two is like so much progress, and then after that, it's just like your mind starts getting a little like indecisive, and you're like,
For sure.
maybe
For sure.
it could go this way or that way, and then um
So you feel like reality, the mundane, gives you those aha moments to get back into the writing?
or I just need something that like is out of my control that's taking away a chunk of my time every day,
Yeah.
and also structuring my mind also like the day job, it's like I gotta get up, I gotta go to work, it's just like and it structures your mind.
Yeah.
um so then when you do have time for your stuff, your mind is equally as structured, so
Yeah.
even though technically you have less time, you get more done in that time.
That's deep.
um
That's that
Especially
Libra.
like similar,
That's that Libra in you.
yeah. but
I
like
need
but
this
like
chaos to bring this
yeah,
balance.
no, it's like you need the
Yeah.
chaos and order. Like I need both of those things or it doesn't work. Like I just found like over a year, like I've tried everything, right? I tried 100% my thing, 100% bad thing, or like I'm only doing the client work and then I'll do my thing later.
Yeah.
It's like I have to do both or it doesn't work for me. Same way with like friends who've had kids, right? It's like the same thing. It's like, man, I have so much less time to do art, but they're like, I get so much more done in those moments that I do have because of this split, whether it's a kid or a job or whatever, like
Yeah.
that that balance of something that is out of their control, I guess.
Do you think, come to that point, you think utopias can work, or you need that kind of chaos, kind of that outlier that always keeps you on your toes to inspire? I think if everything was all good, I mean, the highest human form is
Yeah,
to inspire. So
yeah.
you just can't
It's
be
tough to
inspired all
know.
the time.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing that's been explored in sci-fi for years. Like, how do you? What is the driving force if everything's perfect, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I mean, I guess Star Trek has explored this in ways, and then life becomes about just exploration. Like, let's explore the galaxy. Like, we've solved poverty, we've solved everything. Like, this kind of like idealistic society, and now they can think about bigger goals, and they don't have to worry about uh, food, survival, war. Like, all these things are solved in theory in the Star Trek world, right? And that's pretty interesting way to do it as well. Like, and that could very well happen where it's like um yeah, it's interesting though. It's an interesting thing to see if it will happen or how it might happen. Technological advances, like maybe it will happen, but it's only in like this metaverse space that happens.
For sure.
um like Ready Player One, the real world was kind of a mess, but everyone could like have a fair shot in this metaverse.
Yeah. I feel like
It'll
there's
be a
more.
trip.
I feel like with a lot of like the gains, especially in NFTs, this is my real approach. There's a lot of we're repeating history. And I talked to my buddy Jeremy Stormsky about this, but like in the 1920s with the Stills and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, they had a boom inside um, that time with like steel and gold and all this stuff, and they became giants. So right now in the crypto world, you're creating giants in industries. Now, what they do with that money, are they gonna be cornering in the market? Are they gonna be like the evil overlord Lex Luthor's? You know what I mean? And it's possible when you get money that fast, and I'm here for
Yeah,
it. You know, I'm just here for it. I'm just here for the story. You know, just here for the story.
yeah. It's going to be interesting to follow too, like what actually happens and who does what, and yeah, if the wrong people get too much, or um yeah, it's going to be interesting to track and follow, but hopefully enough like good-hearted people are part of that crowd and can do the right things, and um yeah, it's going to be interesting to follow, and it feels like a lot of the good-hearted people are the ones doing well and becoming some of those people. So I'm more hopeful.
Yeah. I might throw you a plot twist though. I'm just joking. I was gonna ask you, what is the sound of Huxley? Like, what is the sound that the frequency that you hear in your head? You know, for that film.
Well, I've got a full CG trailer that is not out.
Oh shit!
So no, it's not on the internet. It's not.
Oh
I'm still waiting to figure out how to get that out. So there is a soundtrack. There is audio. So when it's
wow. Did you
when
work
it's
with
out the
Hans
door,
Zimmer or something like that?
no,
You made a call. Hey Han,
no,
need you,
I
bud.
worked with a talented friend, Sava Zikovic, and one of his friends is did the soundtrack and did an awesome job. And I think can't wait. I can't wait for the world to see it. We're just figuring out the best way to get it out the door, and yeah, it'll be sweet. It's just what's the best way to get it out there. Yeah.
Wow. Do you feel like um now that you are financially well off, have you changed? Do you feel like anything has changed, or you want to buy a tank? Because I know like with like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they got rich, guy bought a tank. So, and they started to split up. You know, so has anything changed within you with this whole?
I still don't like. I've been living
You on the
a
ramen
certain
noodle
way my
life
whole
still?
life.
No. So
I've been living a certain way my whole life as an artist. So like to me, I still don't believe anything happened. So like, you know, my room hasn't changed. Like I still drive an old Toyota Corolla. Like nothing's really
is it
changed.
JDM though?
Like no,
Okay.
it's just like I've been living a very like cautious, like safe life, like saving money and not like living within my means, I guess. Like
That's
so I'm kind of
commendable.
still doing that. Like I'd rather like maybe we go like I hope it doesn't happen, but maybe we go into a bear market for 3 more years or something. You know, you never know what's gonna happen. So like for me, I don't think it's very maybe I'm just getting too cautious in my old age, but like if something all this like resources or money comes my way, I'm just gonna see it as like I bought myself more time. Like I have more time to do what I want and not I have stuff that I can buy more stuff.
Yeah.
I think in terms of time. So like if this buys me 20 years of time, that's where my head's at instead of like I could buy a bunch of stuff and I still have to like wait for the next paycheck kind of thing.
Nice. But you have leverage though, so which is good to have. It's good to
Yeah,
have this time.
that helps too. Like right now I'm still living pretty cautiously and just like yeah, it'll probably take a while to like change my mind because I still just feel like I don't know, it's not real, it didn't happen, I don't know.
For real. I feel like eventually a big crypto person that made money on Dogecoin is gonna knock on your door and say, hey, I want to VC your thing and I don't need nothing from it but a producer credit. And you're gonna be like,
that would
yeah,
be amazing.
sure.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Yeah.
And then you know, to the moon you go, to the moon you
Yeah.
go, bro.
Well, I mean that's part of what I'm trying to figure out is like, is there a way to like make and fund a movie with just NFT crypto stuff? Like yeah. This is definitely where my head's at, right? Like what is the best way to get out there? Yeah. Like I want to make a movie. Maybe people who buy certain things are like producers on the thing or get a producer credit or something. And like,
dude,
like I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it, right? Because that would be amazing, right? Like because some of the like say like people's like NFT that sold for 69 million, like I could make a whole movie with that. Like let's just make this movie, you know, like people buying one painting, but like
we're about to make a universe.
Fund a movie, bro. Like you want to make a whole like make a movie and then all those assets we make for the movie can be the metaverse. Like there could be some really cool stuff that could be done with funds like that.
And I hope you're the guy to do it, bro.
Painting.
I'm really hoping Pixar isn't the people to do it, bro, because we, as the NFT DGen community, want to fund people like you. We want to fund the underdog, the one that's humble, the one that looks like us, the one that acts like us, the one that really just likes to be a creator, like in the basement. So that's the people we want to see rise. So
and I think the Flow founder Roham said something really cool. I think someone posted something like, "Man, imagine how much Disney's gonna make off NFTs," and then Roham responded something like, "Imagine how many Disneys will be made off of artists selling NFTs." And I was just like, "Yes,
Mm.
like that's awesome. Like how many people are gonna go from nothing to becoming the next Disneys and Marvels because they can finally make money with their art?" And I feel like that is
Dude, it's kind of
the
scary
amazing mindset.
when you have all these competitions. Like, Disney doesn't have a lot of competition, but there's gonna become a day when indie artists are that competition, and we're gonna see new corporations getting formed of like humanitarians, egalitarians that, you know, not only do
Yeah,
they want to build Disney World, but they want to build like fucking, I don't know, places on planets and shit.
yeah, yeah. Like it's gonna be fascinating to watch because I mean a lot of us have been in this situation where it's like I want to make all this stuff and like I've got it, like I've been designing it, I've been making it, and it's just figuring out. Yeah, now I feel like with NFT stuff, there is a much more clear path to do that than ever before. So it's going to be fascinating to see how many new things come out that never would have been able to before, because it's like, so many people are like, oh, more superheroes, or I'm so sick of this. It's like, well, let's fund the next thing. Like, what is the next Star Wars? What is the next
Yeah.
thing that we're gonna love? Like, give these things a chance to get off the ground, and let's like it takes artists taking a big risk to make these things to have
Yeah.
this new thing that we can love and enjoy. Because
Yeah.
yeah, all the years we could have been like, I could have worked on all these crazy big movies that I had to say no to because I wanted to make my own thing, right? Like that, it's definitely quite a bit of sacrifice to say no to work on a cool thing with a cool director friend, with all your artist friends that you love,
And catering
because
and catering.
because long term it's like I
Catering.
really want to make my own thing, and in the short term I know it'd be so awesome to go work on that Star Wars thing or whatever, but that's going to be another year or 2 years or 3 years delaying the thing I want to make, that hopefully the world will enjoy as much as that thing.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. Full send. We say it in the skate community. Full send. Are you with your social circle, and you have art buddies that do what you do in the film industry, right?
yeah, most are fully dedicated just to the jobs they do.
Are they
But a
kind of
few, I
jealous?
mean,
Are they like, hey, you're the first mover now? Like, how can I be the second mover? Do you ever get those?
sure, yeah, like once that happened, I think a lot of people are like, whoa, what's happening, what is this, like how do I do this? And like I was saying before, like I feel like it was the perfect storm of like timing. I had the right art, like because most of my career I'm like, not that I'm never trust the system I was in, but I guess I see things for what it is, and I saw like, okay, like it's almost like an investment, right? It's like you're investing everything into someone else's thing and never investing in yourself, and it's like you're over leveraging your investment, right? So like the whole time, my whole career, I was like, I should probably put a little bit of that time into myself just in case this thing doesn't work out or something, so that I have something for myself. So it's like putting a little bit of savings in your stock or whatever.
For
And
sure.
so now when the NFT thing happened, it's like, well, I have all this work that I was investing in myself, and it was more about organizing and putting it out there in a very interesting way. Whereas a lot of friends who are like, I'm only going to invest in the corporate career, they can't use any of that because Disney or whoever owns it. So for them, they have to basically start from zero, where it's like, okay, what are my ideas? So a lot of
Yeah.
people are having to kind of start from scratch of just like, who am I?
And it's
What is my voice?
yeah,
What do I have to
yeah,
say? Because
yeah,
they've just been focusing their life for someone else. Like,
yeah.
I got to make production art for a movie, and
Those
it has
guys,
to look a certain way.
I swear, those guys, bro, are the unsung heroes, because no one wants to die in the fine print. All right, nobody wants to just die in the small fine print of a movie. Like, I wouldn't want to. I sure wouldn't want to. And so it's good for people to make a living off that, but um, as crypto shown us, this whole living of the attention economy is just a different type of beast in itself. It's a different type of currency that's happening.
Yeah.
This social thing.
Yeah, it's interesting for
I was
sure.
gonna ask.
But it's oh sorry.
No, go. Sorry.
I was gonna say it's also interesting because like there is a big focus on like social and social following and all this stuff, and there is value to that. But I also feel like the real value is in the artist's work and skill of creating like something of value. So like maybe that's a good like starter, but like I feel like most of the successful NFT artists don't have like crazy numbers or whatever. So like when you see like maybe influencers hopping in like, hey, I got 5 million followers, and like maybe that first sale is kind of big, but then after that people are like, this really isn't good art. Like I want to invest in
Little John had
this
an
great
NFT.
this great artist. Like he's got 2,000 followers, but the art is amazing. And that's going to be more valuable than like 8 million follower guy that really isn't creating anything. Like this actual thing is not that great, you know.
You know,
so I think there's like something interesting happening there where it's like people are like realizing that the art is what matters, and it is really the artist's moment to shine here, and not like maybe the influencers hopping over and like
the Jake Pauls and the knockouts and one of ones. And I get it, you know, kids like that, man. But if you're a child watching this, if you're 10 years old, and you build with an artist like benmauro or one of your friends that is 16, you know, you got 16-year-olds starting their own cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Like you literally can do major. You can rise to the occasion. You can rise to the top, so to speak, just with a community.
That's when one of the most inspiring things, like looking at like Ferocious and some of these younger artists, like they're doing way better than like I had to go through like 15 years of like getting chewed up by the system, and like these young artists are like multi-million, like way
but they
better
stand
off
on
than
your
I
shoulders,
am.
my brother. They
like,
stand on the shoulders of the people that come before them.
Like I am so happy that these young artists can like are doing so well and can skip this like 15 years of like meat grinder. Like I'm just like, yeah, man, like I'm so happy to see like where things go, where it's like there's so many more opportunities. And
and you can't say stuff like that life did deal me a bad hand. Like you can't be like, oh, I wish I was them, you know. You really just got to be content with your journey, man.
Like again I don't feel that time was wasted, because it allows me to do a lot more than I ever could have had I not done that. But I realize that like this technological moment is hitting everyone equally across the board, no matter where you are. So like if like these young artists can basically be like, I just want to be an artist, like that's incredible to me. Like I think that's like the coolest thing ever. Like I just can't wait to see where this goes. And then
you know who I gotta give a shout out to? John Crane, because it's funny story. John Crane from Super Rare created Super Rare. I got on Super Rare 4 years ago because I went to this like New York conference, and he was speaking with a room full of 4 people. And it was a project called Decentralized Art, which is from the ETH Denver conference in 2016, 2017. John Crane was sitting there, like a pretty shitty projector behind him, and he was just talking about Super Rare. And a lot of the people were like, okay. And I was like, dude, how do I sign up? And I was able to sign up, man. I was able to sign up to Super Rare early. And now it's like the MoMA. Like people really see Super Rare as like a catalyst, like something to aspire to get on. And I know you're on there, and I'm on there, and I'm not really noticeable, but it's pretty beautiful to be in that circle. Now I'm thinking, how can I help my community and curate artists in my local city and put them on Super Rare so they could get seen, you know, as a museum, so to speak.
It's fascinating to see too, like I feel like I also again, like I feel like it was a perfect storm of like luck and timing, and like for whatever reason Super Rare was like the first one I got into. And like I remember at the time when I started, all the multi-edition stuff started happening, and everyone was like trying to pressure them to like do that on Super Rare, and they're like, no
one
of ones,
we're good,
only one of ones. And everyone was just like, this is great, like getting mad at them, and then
No.
but looking in hindsight, I feel like they were right, and I'm so happy they didn't budge. Like one of ones, it's just like we're selling an original piece of art, that's it. And that really is the way to hold value long term, is having like, if you want to be the fine art painter guy, doing a one of one is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, like collectibles or things, that's a different thing, but like I feel like there was a weird mixing for a while of like the one of one turning into a lot of copies, almost like
Yeah.
selling posters
Yeah.
almost. But like
Yeah.
it got to a weird thing. It's like I don't know if that's the right way to do it. And Super River was like, no, we're
John,
not doing
it's
that.
because John is a visionary. John is a humble giant, and he looks like a superhero character in itself. He's his own superhero, and it's beautiful to see that, like, Rarible comes out, Nifty Gateway comes out, Foundation comes out, OpenSea editions comes out, all these things coming out all of a sudden, and they sticking true to it. People respect Super Rare because of that, and I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm happy that they didn't budge. So, are you
Yeah,
still making
same.
Super Rare art?
I'm planning some, but like Evolution is taking up all my time, like supporting it and rewarding all you guys. So I have some things I'd like to do, but it'd probably take me a while just because all my time's on Evolution, and then figuring out how to organize Huxley to get it out the door. But most of my time is just Evolution right now.
Sweet.
Um,
I
yeah.
was I was gonna ask. Does I know we probably got another 10 minutes on here, but I was gonna ask. How you doing? Good on time.
Oh yeah, it's all good, man.
Sweet.
As
Does
long as we want to go.
Does Huxley have a dark side to it?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to spoil anything.
Because I mean, I'm a
It's a
big
very
I'm a big
interesting.
exploring the shadow, the dark of things.
Well, I think a lot of the things we talked about, like duality and like, is in the story, like duality of life, duality of decisions, like,
Yeah.
yeah, just like,
Lust and all the.
just a lot of like, yeah, just like understanding how decisions that go through time and trying to right wrongs, and um, it goes pretty deep in a couple things. I think only one person has read it.
Damn. Who was
The
that lucky person?
director of the CG trailer.
Oh,
So,
jeez.
but I think, yeah, based on that reaction, I think it's pretty cool. It's something special. And yeah, it's just figuring out the best way to get it out there to the mass audience. If it is an NFT form, finding a way to do it in a way that like everyone can read it, or yeah, just finding a way to do it that people can read it, but then also, if they want to buy like a really special edition version of it, that's possible too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
What is your opinion on what does it mean to be human? Because I'll give my answer. I just what does it mean to be human? Just to consume? Are we just consumers, or because it seems like we
What does it
consume all
mean
the
to be
time?
human? I don't know. Like, for me, it's just finding meaning, like finding meaning and purpose for why we're here and what we're doing. Like, if I didn't have that, I would just like what's the point of anything? Like, I need to have some sort of purpose and meaning. And also a lot of that comes from just like the people in your life and your friends, and like, because so many, like there's so many years early on where I was just like, I tried to shut everything out and only focus on my art and getting better. And like your life just gets so empty and cold and dead. And like, it's not, I don't know, it's like the art, like if your life is an RPG or whatever, your art meter goes up so much and you're happy on a certain level, but then the rest of your life is just like dead. It's just like zero, right? Like again, it's all about that balance. You got to find that balance of everything. And um yeah, I don't know, it's just part of that is like growing up, and yeah, just finding that meaning and what it is to be a person, like what it is to have a life, what it is to be a person in your community as an artist,
Yeah.
or whatever field you choose to go into. And
Yeah. I always say everything you thought you lost isn't compared to what you gain, and I think the failures of life is like what humans need to go through. The
yeah,
failures the falling on your face, um, because at the end of the day, if you die and no one's able to tell, if you literally, disown your kids, you were a bad person, no one really liked you, and you die, who's there to tell your story? And you're in essence never existed
Yeah.
for people to tell your story. And I think that's what human being is. It's like to have a story being told. It's a lore.
Yeah, I think also that's part of like being an artist, right? It's like it's a way to like live on after you're gone, right? You have these art, you have these stories, you have these things that are left behind in a pretty clear way. It's like, oh, like look at all these things that this person created over their life. And like um I've talked to younger artists about this too, where it's like they're like I just want to make the most original thing ever. I just want, or like, why should I create, or like, what's the reason to create, or, um, and a lot of it is just like creating while you're learning, and it's like there's so many things that have been done, but it's like you're exploring all these new avenues that hopefully you get into a new one that has never existed before, and you kind of like push the ceiling or push the boundaries a bit more for everyone else.
Yeah.
So like everyone new coming in has a bigger play space to create things in. And I feel like that's part of our purpose as an artist, is just like pushing that ceiling further and further, so there's a bigger
Yeah. People
range
literally.
of possibilities of things that can exist that have never existed before.
Yeah.
um
Some artists want to be like Jesus Christ for sure. They want to be holy. You know. I mean, in the word holy means separate. So it's like people, these artists just want to separate in a sense from the deviation or the norm. But it's like, yeah, we're stronger together, but not everyone's gonna reinvent the fucking wheel. You know what I mean? Like, I feel
sure.
like you are someone who kind of like was on the cusp of like a CGI artist reinventing like you know the way that this industry can work, and that's like,
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I always try to like go down those rabbit holes, right? Like, oh, what is this? What is this? How does this work? What's going on here? Like, whether that's learning a new piece of software, like a lot of friends just like, I learned how to paint Photoshop and that's it. And for me, it's like, okay, I learned how to paint in Photoshop. What's this thing? What's that thing?
what's ZBrush? What's
What
Substance
about
Paint?
this? What about this mixed with this? How does that work? What
What's
is that? Oh, is
Oculus
that
Media?
cool? Huh? What is that? Like, my mind is very curious,
Mm-hmm.
like about everything. And it's just curious about everything, like whether it's art, programs, cryptocurrency. Like, oh, what's that? What is this thing? Oh, there's art plus cryptocurrency. I know this. What about that? And it's like,
Squirrel.
okay, squirrel. Yeah, it is kind of like that, where it's just like, oh, what about that? But then
Yeah,
you start
the
getting all
chase.
these interesting connections where you're like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Like, I don't think anyone's done that. Let's try that. Oh wow, it worked out. Or, oh, it totally failed. Okay, well, let's try this one. Let's try that. Let's try that. And I feel like that's the way to, or at least a way to kind of stay excited even if something fails. It's more about like it's not about a race you're running. It's more about just like,
A marathon.
yeah, or just like trying. It's like you're just exploring. Like, I don't feel bad if like one of those didn't work, because I see that there's like a million other
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
It's like, oh, okay, that's the wrong one. What about this one? What about that one? It's like a tree
yeah,
instead of like a line, right?
for sure,
um, a tree with 1,000 branches or a million branches that keep growing.
for sure.
It's just trying all the different ones.
I was gonna say, when you do make the movie, you got to really be intentional who you're casting, because whoever plays those Huxley roles has to like do the shit justice. They
Yeah,
gotta do it justice, man. They gotta, that they're synonymously will live on, like Mark Hamill and stuff.
yeah, that'll be a tough one. Ideally, I'll be able to just work with like great partners or production companies that can, again, like making a movie is crazy complicated. Like a million moving parts. So ideally, there's like great partners who I would just trust to like do the best job. Like looking at like even looking at like Marvel, right? Like when those first movies came out, like the foresight in all the casting decisions is crazy. Like a lot of people you would never think to cast at that time, and they're just like, yeah, of course that's Captain America. but at the time maybe he just did like some like comedy movies, and like
For sure.
was in like
Some
Fantastic Four, that kind of
yeah.
was, you know, maybe it wasn't the best movie or whatever, but it was like, to at the time to say that's Captain America, right?
The guy from Scary Movie.
Yeah, and you're just like, but now it's just like, of course that was like the, like no one else could have, like I can't think of anyone else, like that is Captain America.
Wow.
Some great people like that to have the foresight of casting these things is or even like, what, look at Star Lord, right? Like he was like the funny guy in uh not The Office, but the Parks and Rec, or whatever the show is called. And it's like, I think reading some like interviews with James Gunn, even he was like, really, that guy? Like, are you sure? And then he did tests, and he's like, okay, let's
What movie
maybe
was
there's
that?
something here. Uh, Guardians of the Galaxy,
Oh yeah.
Star Lord, right? And at the time, but he was just like, yeah, but the comedy guy in Parks and Rec, and like to make that jump, like it's crazy. And now it's just like, of course, like Chris Pratt, huge like action movie star now. Like that's such a crazy transformation and jump from that one role, you know. But having the foresight in that casting is, that's definitely a skill in and of itself.
Have you seen the series with Nick Offerman, Hulu series called Devs?
Yeah, yeah,
Dude,
I love that. That was cool.
even casting him too is like wow, like a villain.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I know some people who, because I never really watched Parks and Rec, so I didn't really have any bias on some of these guys. Like, but I had some friends who were just like, I can't watch this show. Like, I just see him as the funny guy. So when I watched Devs, I didn't have that. So I was like, oh wow, like this is really interesting. But like yeah, it's a weird thing. Like actors, I guess, like when they do something, like it's like burned into someone's mind, and it takes time to like
Yeah,
change that perception in your mind if you've seen them in something else.
yeah. I was gonna. This is probably this last question from the community. Someone said, um, right here, what was it like working with Webtoons to distribute Huxley?
I don't know if I worked with them. I was just, when I was doing a preview, like I did about 28 pages a couple years ago to like get the word out that I'm making this, and showing a bit of it. And it was more of just like listing it on their platforms, right? Like I think I did Webtoons, and like there's one other one. I don't think, not Crunchyroll, but it was something like that, some kind of name like that. And yeah, it was interesting going for mobile. I think the layout, what I basically made it as like a French graphic novel, like old school, like a,
Like a zine?
ideally it's gonna be like a meta barons, right? Like I
Ooh.
want this. It's gonna be like Huxley is my meta barons kind of thing, for my Akira or whatever you want to call it. So like I want that like reading experience, but like mobile, it's really more of like an endless scroll, and you kind of, I prefer to like work with someone to like reformat the thing so it works better as like a scroll. So it was cool to have like that audience get to check it out and respond to it, but I understand that audience likes a certain way that things look, so maybe it's better to like work with an artist to like reformat the whole book
Yeah.
for that reading experience.
Yeah. That's what's up. And are you a collector of any sort, or do you collect? Is this NFT thing always been your nature, collecting comics and vintage video games and coins or anything like that? Well,
I definitely am a book.
okay, cool.
There's
Books
a
on
whole
books
book.
on
There's a lot of
books.
books, like art books are maybe my main collecting. Yeah, video games, I'm pretty
Right.
huge. I mean, it's part of all of our. It's like human psychology, I think, in a way. Like ever since we're like, right, we grew up playing Mario or something, and like I gotta collect every star in that game to feel like complete. You know,
Hey
I
mom,
think
look at
it's a
this bug I
very.
collected, mom.
I think it's just like a very strong part of human psychology, of just like we like
Hunting gathering.
collecting things, and like almost like hunting, deep like hunting gathering kind of thing. It's like, yeah, like collecting all the toys, like
Yeah. This
Terminator.
helps my senses. It helps all the five senses, I guess.
Yeah, and also part of it is like it's like feeling closer to like the things we love,
Yeah.
like all these side, like Mandalorian came out. It's like I need to get the sideshow badass thing. I got Baby Yoda over there in the
You saw
corner
Sideshow
under.
Collectibles?
Yeah, yeah. Like, like, and all, but also for me, it's like having the reference of the things around me that I love too. Where it's just like if I'm coming up with something new, you're like always surrounded by great things to be like, oh, how did Doom do it, or how did Lord of the Rings do it? Like when I was at Weta and just kind of starting and learning how to be an artist and designer, like you're surrounded by like years of movie history because they worked on all that. So like every day I would like get the path to go get a coffee back and forth from my desk. I would pass the iron armor of Sauron, like 9 feet tall. I'd pass the cave troll sculpture they scanned to put into the movie. I'd I'd pass like every Lord of the Rings armor and sword, like the goblin face. Like you're walking by that every day to go to the bathroom and go get a coffee, and you just start soaking that in, right? Like
You live in
that's
another
like
world.
yeah, like and at first you're like this is amazing, and after a while you like your mind gets used to it and you kind of take it for granted, but like I feel like this type of stuff is like hugely for like molding your creative mindset of like what's good, what's bad, like what, because you're seeing that every day. Like had I not done that and just stayed in the US or in LA and stayed in my empty apartment, I probably would not have grown as much as I had, just because like you're literally seeing like the best stuff in the world, and like it's real, like what makes that real? Like you just see it every day. um and kind of like yeah, just like that osmosis, even if you're not trying, you're just like soaking it in.
Yeah,
um
and Token is immortalized in that his little words are now real physical items in this like meta game that we're playing. It's weird.
yeah, I think that's also a big thing, is like seeing that process over and over, like working on movies when I was starting out. Like you get a script, it's just a bunch of words on a page. You work with the director to make those words into pictures. They work with people to build all that stuff. They go and shoot all that stuff, and then you finally see this movie come out of it, and you just see that whole process of just like words on a page to final product that people can watch in a movie theater and love. And you're like, once you see that like a dozen times, you're like, I think I can do this. Like I think like
You can do it,
like
bro. You will
like
do it.
like from
It's
like
a
from the
must.
outside,
You have to.
like from the outs yeah, like from the outside though, you think it's just like this magical thing that would never be possible. Well, once you get inside, you're like, okay, I don't think these people are geniuses. Like, not that they're not skilled, but it's like on
Yeah.
the outside, you're like, these people must be like geniuses,
They
and
have a
there's no way
machine.
like. But when you get in there, you're just like, all these people are just like me. They're they're given a huge problem that is very hard to solve, and they just got to take it one day at a time, try to figure out how to solve this problem and figure it out. And after solving every day, struggling and solving problems every day to like do something, the movie is done and it's out the door. But that's the process. It's just like it's tough. There's a huge problem that you can't solve, and you got to figure out a way to solve it. And it's just like 1,000 versions of this until the whole thing is done and it's ready to go, and you get it up door. And yeah, it's like a realization of just like, okay, this is just like it's work. You just got to get in there and it's work, and there's structure to it, and like a timeline. But it's like once you understand that it's not as scary anymore, I guess, or it doesn't feel as like mysterious. It's just like this is doable.
And with that, my friends, we're going to talk that right there is perfectly said. It's kind of going full circle duality. You problem solve, you sacrifice, but at the end of it, you reap that reward of like I made Huxley bigger than Pixar, and that's what's gonna happen for you, Ben. Speaking duality,
See, let's hope.
if you need a stagehand, and if you need an extra, I'm always there. I would love to show off this mustache, be goofy. Um, I'm here for you. I'm happy to be collecting your stuff. Hopefully, when
Man,
you do a NFT main movie, Indiegogo, so to speak, or fundraiser, I would love to support that. Um, I need you to give people some sensei wisdom, your final words to the people. Channel your inner sensei. What should people hear the final thought from Ben Mauro on this interview.
Um, thank you guys so much. And I would just say, do what you love. And if you're an artist, go create. If you're not an artist, just have fun and do what you love.
I love that. Thank you for the time. Just
Thanks,
mute
guys.
real quick. We're gonna go to music, and I gotta talk to you. Thank you for your time. Evolution to the moon. Later, man.